God promised Abraham in his special covenant that he would have a child, but no children had come. So Sarai tried to solve the problem on her own. She told Abraham, "Since the Lord has prevented me from bearing children, go to my slave. Perhaps through her I can build a family." So Abraham married Hagar, and she became pregnant. Then Hagar began to treat Sarai with disrespect. Sarai was upset, and she complained to Abraham. He said, "Do whatever you want with her." So Sarai began to mistreat Hagar until she ran away. Hagar was in the wilderness when an angel of the Lord found her near a spring of water and asked, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going?" "I am running away from my mistress Sarai," Hagar replied. The angel of the Lord told Hagar to return to Abram and Sarai and do whatever Sarai said. Then the angel gave Hagar a promise. "I will greatly multiply your offspring. You have conceived and will have a son." He instructed Hagar to name her son Ishmael because the Lord had heard her cry of affliction. He said Ishmael would always be hostile and fight with other people, including his own family. Hagar returned home, and Abraham was 86 when Ishmael was born. Had Sarai's plan really worked? Ishmael was not the son God would choose to be part of his special covenant with Abraham. Abraham and Sarai waited 14 more years for God to give them their promised son. One day, God appeared to Abraham and told him he was changing Sarai's name to Sarah, which means princess. God said, "I will bless her indeed. I will give you a son by her. She will be remembered because her descendants will include entire nations and kings." Abraham laughed because he was nearly 100 years old, and Sarah was 90 years old. He didn't think God could give him a son because he and Sarah were so old. Abraham wanted God to bless his son Ishmael instead. But God told Abraham that was not his plan. "In 1 year, Sarah will have a son," God said. "I want you to name him Isaac. I will confirm my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant for his future offspring." As for Ishmael, God said he would bless him too, but the covenant would only be for Isaac and his offspring. A year later, Sarah gave birth to a son. Abraham named his son Isaac, just as God had instructed. Abraham learned that God is always faithful to keep his covenant. Everyone should always trust God. God fulfilled his promise to Abraham by giving him a son. Isaac was the hope of Abraham and Sarah for a future and a legacy. God fulfilled his promise of the world by giving us his son. Jesus ultimately fulfilled God's promise to Abraham, and he is the hope of the world for salvation and redemption.